Hey there, folks. I am the Mighty Plantain, and I've got something really, really special for you tonight. This is the Shackleton blended malt Scotch whiskey based on an antique blend of Mackinlay's rare old Highland malt whiskey, the spirit supplied to the 1907 British Antarctic Expedition. Now, I watched a documentary on this stuff years ago, and I thought that I would never come across it, and if I did, that it would be prohibitively expensive. And I'll tell you more about why I thought that when I'm done telling you about the whiskey itself. Actually, the two kind of go hand in hand. Now, wearing the TNS Dojo shirt because we're talking about Ernest Shackleton and his Antarctic expedition, the very definition of take no shit, men. And if you want to learn more about taking no shit in your everyday life, you should be listening to That Larry Show every Tuesday, thatlarryshow.com, or better yet, go to patreon.com/thatlarryshow and pledge. It's free to listen to. But once you've heard a few episodes, you're going to want to get into the Patreon. Pledge at least $5 to $10 a month so you can get the bonus episodes and all the other great content. But check it out, thatlarryshow.com or patreon.com/thatlarryshow. All about taking no shit. And you'll see Ernest Shackleton was a take no shit kind of guy. So, a little bit of history, and like I said, this was detailed in the documentary I saw years ago, which got me really excited about this stuff. In the early years of the 20th century, Sir Ernest Shackleton led one of the most famous expeditions to the Antarctic, overcoming tremendous obstacles to ensure that all of his men returned home safely. Now, I was telling some people that I thought all the men died, and I was incorrect, apparently. Remembered it incorrectly. That expedition is one of the greatest stories of exploration and leadership in history, and has inspired adventurers across the world ever since. Shackleton ordered 25 cases of Mackinlay's rare old Highland malt whiskey. What else are you going to take on an Antarctic expedition? To take on his expedition of 1907. In 2007, 100 years later, 11 intact bottles containing this perfectly preserved whiskey, we're talking Antarctic temperatures and conditions, folks, of course it was perfectly preserved, were recovered from under the ice beneath Shackleton's base camp. This has inspired our master blender, Richard Patterson, to create... Richard Patterson, the nose. Amazing Scots gentleman, by the way. To create this Shackleton whiskey as a personal and deeply felt project. He has combined the best Highland malt whiskies, allowing them to marry over a long period, to create an enigmatic blended malt with a dash of body and a whisper of smoke. It has complex notes of vanilla, honey, and orchard fruits with real warmth and depth at its heart, like Shackleton himself. A contribution from sales of this whiskey will be made to the Antarctic Heritage Trust, New Zealand, nzaht.org. This will support both the ongoing care of Shackleton's Antarctic base and the Trust's mission to conserve, share, and encourage the spirit of exploration, a spirit embodied by Shackleton. Now, like I said, I thought I'd never come across this stuff because it was years ago that I saw the documentary. They actually removed the whiskey from the bottles without compromising the airtight seal on hypodermically. They chemically analyzed it, and then Mr. Patterson did his own less chemically, well, I guess it is still a scientific analysis, just a different kind of science, but less of a chemical analysis and more of a human analysis on it. And that was where the combination of the two, the chemical analysis and his own expertise, guy's a third generation whiskey man and a master blender, etc., etc., they combined this knowledge to recreate the blend, and this is as close as you're going to get to that historical whiskey as possible. And this kind of stuff really amazes me. It's why I'm a big fan of the Dogfish Head ancient ales collections, because we can kind of taste what these folks had access to back in the day. And it's almost like getting a little bit of history, maybe some of the kick-ass attitude that went along with these guys. So here's a little quote here. I believe it is in our nature to explore, to reach out into the unknown. Ernest Shackleton. But like I said, I have diverged from this a couple of times. I thought that if this stuff did show up in our area, because I do live in central Maine, we don't get everything around here, I thought that it would be prohibitively expensive. Well, imagine my surprise. I had almost forgotten about this stuff. I mean, it was always in the back of my mind that I'd love to try it someday. I come around the corner at Damon's in Augusta, and there it is up on the shelf. I see the word Shackleton, and I immediately stopped and had to grab it and take a look. Under 40 bucks, which I believe is amazing. They must have made this stuff in a much larger quantity than I thought they did. Or maybe they have done a couple of rounds of it and I missed out on the first few, but just, you know, a little taste of history, folks, and I don't know. There's not much more I can say about it. Wow, that is a pale whiskey. I do like the blue bottle. It's not completely blue, but it's got a blue tinge to it, which is more evident where the bottle's thicker. But yeah, I'm kind of in awe of the fact that I actually managed to get a hold of this stuff. By endurance we conquer. It's trademarked. I don't know if that's from Mackinlay's or what. Eventually I got to get around to drinking it, right? It feels like something I should have saved for a special occasion, but honestly, you know, it's at the price point that it came in at. I just can't deny myself checking it out. So, well, some folks would say you want a little drop of water to open it up and bring some of the more subtle flavors out. I don't like to put any water in my whiskey at all. I think I got the swirl halfway decent here. That is definitely clinging to the glass really good. Let me try this again here. Yeah, kind of got it going around in a circle. But yeah, it's a lot paler than I thought. A lot more, it's almost got a butterscotch color to it. And with the way it's clinging to the glass, I'd say the butterscotch comparison is actually works on two different levels. But it's, I don't know, the color is a butterscotch, but it's a very pale butterscotch color. I can't think of anything else to compare it to, though, in terms of the hue. Now, Highland's malts are not my favorites. I do find them to be a little bit harsh. I'm actually partial to the Isleys and the Speysides. They're a little more mellow. Some folks would tell you the opposite. For me, the smoky and seaside, just the reminiscent of the seaside aspects of the Isleys and the Speysides are what really bring them home for me. And in terms of the Highlands, I just find it to be, I don't know, just there's this harshness and I don't know, I almost want to say earthiness, but I like earthy stuff. There's a character to them I just can't really put a word to. That's a little off-putting to me, and I'm getting hints of that in the aroma. Yeah, just it's a little harsh, and that's kind of overwhelming. I mean, I am getting some subtle fruity notes. Nothing else is really coming forward for me, and I think no matter how long I spend sniffing it, I'm not going to get anything else out of it more complex, and I feel like I'm failing for not doing that, but that's what I'm getting. So That is remarkably smooth. I wasn't expecting that from a Highlands malt. Like I said, I find the Highlands malts to typically be very harsh, on my palate anyway. There's a good amount of sweetness to it. Up front, it's got a nice bite to it. And it finishes with a bit of harshness. It's got a good burn to it. But in the middle there's a nice mellow sweetness. I'm getting hints of the vanilla, some slight hints of fruit. No specific fruit flavors coming out for me. It's definitely not citrus. It's like a sweet fruit. Yeah, vanilla, maybe a hint of caramel, and some sweet fruitiness, and it's the harshness in the finish is actually fading as I drink it. It's getting less so. I mean, I'll tell you this: if I was exploring the Antarctic, I sure as hell would want to drink this stuff because it's warming me up right now. Yeah, we all know the deal. Alcohol doesn't actually warm you up. It increases your circulation and dilates the blood vessels, so you're actually cooling off faster because there's more blood flow closer to the surface of your skin, and it can induce hypothermia faster. But I feel pretty damn warm in the meantime. And it isn't taking much of it to get me there. At only 40% alcohol by volume, it's an 80 proof, so it's definitely not one of the higher end ABV whiskeys out there, or higher proof whiskeys out there. But still, it's pretty respectable. And in terms of the flavor, I've never come across anything like it. It is probably the smoothest and easiest to drink Highlands malt I've ever had. For me personally, that's saying something, because like I said, that the Highlands malts are pretty harsh for me. But it's definitely got a unique character, a unique flavor, and then of course the history behind it. You can't compete with that. I feel really special drinking this, and I think you should check it out. I'm loving it. I definitely think I would pick up another bottle of it at some point. This one probably won't last more than a couple of weeks. I got a fridge full of beer that I got to work on too, but yeah, this is definitely right up there. I think I'm prepared to say this is one of my favorite whiskeys. And again, maybe it's just part of the nostalgia behind it, because when I saw this documentary, it was probably back in 2008, 2009. It seems like it's been a long time. It might have only been a few years ago, but it seems like it was right around the time I was just starting to take an interest in different types of whiskeys and getting into the craft beer. So yeah, it would have been a few years ago anyway. But I'm rambling at this point. If you can find the documentary, I don't remember the title. I'll have to look it up. If I do find it, I'll post it, the name of it, in the comments, or I'm sorry, in the description below. Ooh, pardon. If you come across the whiskey, definitely check it out. There's something interesting rolling off my tongue now. The more I talk and the more I drink it. I think I'm getting the smokiness coming through. That peaty smokiness. Yeah. Yeah. Just this nice earthy, peaty, and smoky combination that it's really pleasant. But anyway, check out the whiskey. When you do, hit me up down in the comments, the email link down there. Let me know what you have to say about it. Love to hear your thoughts. While you're down there, don't forget to like and share the video, and make sure to subscribe, so whenever I post a new video, you get a notification. Bumps up my No, I really haven't had that much to drink tonight, folks. Just 2 beers before this, so But anyway, bumps up my subscriber numbers, which I really need right now in order to get back on YouTube's YouTube's good graces of over 1,000. So that's me begging. Done with that. I'm going to drink more whiskey. Till next time, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Keep the spirit of exploration alive. Take no shit. Check out that Larry show. Cheers.